everyone, welcome to Horror Talks with Tate. I'm Tate, your host. In this podcast, join us as we dive deep into the plots, character development, and behind the scenes on all things horror. This is your major spoiler warning and trigger warning. There's a lot of talk about death, murder, and brutal killings. Continuing into the world of slashers, we cover Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. This is a sequel to the first film that I covered last week, which was based on a children's novel, Winnie the Pooh, by A.A. Milne, but not from a Disney version because it's still protected by the copyright laws, expanding the twisted childhood universe. After revealing the monsters responsible for the 100 Acre Wood massacre, Christopher returns home and faces the world of scrutiny. Some of the hunters had destroyed Pooh and Piglet's property, and they reunited by Owl and Tigger, and they found a place to hide. We open the movie with our not-so-friendly friends unleashing their feral tendencies onto some seemingly innocent girls, if you count an Ouija board as innocent. The three young girls were literally torn apart by Pooh and Mr. Owl, with some major brutality. One poor girl gets her arm snapped by Pooh. Talk about a creepy opening. I told you this movie was brutal. We are then transporting back to Christopher, who is struggling to find his place in society again, moving back to Ashdown and pursuing his dream of being a doctor. We learn that Chris is going to therapy, hoping to open up his memories to when his twin brother was mysteriously taken. The film throws us straight into the deep end with no warning. I was certainly already shocked by this point, and it only got bigger. He was going into the memories where his brother, Billy Robin, was taken, and he was still shocked and he wants to know what happened to his brother, but didn't know that all along while playing with Pooh. He was playing with his brother. The hunters were going in the 100 Acre Woods to see if Chris was right. They all end up being brutally dismembered by Pooh, Piglet, and Owl. Well, only until Piglet got shot in the head by one of the hunters. Piglet said before getting shot, "All of Ashdown will burn." Chilling. Only one hunter survived, but his face has been shredded. He finally convinced Chris, "You were right. They did this." Chris then becomes aware of a hospital janitor who always seems to be around when something happens in the woods. This is where Chris thinks he's the one who kidnapped his brother. Chris snapped, goes to the janitor's house, and threatens to kill him if he doesn't tell Chris the truth about his brother. Here, we learn the mess of truth. The janitor kidnapped Billy and 6 of their friends and took them to a mad doctor. This doctor injected the kids with animal DNA to transform them into beasts. Now let me tell you, I was absolutely mind blown at discovering that Winnie the Pooh is actually Billy. Christopher understandably gets mortified and shocked. The janitor tells the story of how the doctor tries to kill his creation, burying them in the 100 Acre Wood, only for the beasts to pull themselves out of the ground. The doctor, thankfully, met his end, being killed by the janitor. But that means all of his work and possible cures are now gone. The janitor apologized before committing suicide, passing on the burdens to Christopher. Shortly after that, Lexi was going to put the kid she babysits to bed, but they heard a noise coming from outside. They went to a hiding spot, and a kid used a remote control car with a camera attached to it to see if someone was there. It was Pooh. Pooh started to look around the house to kill anyone if they're in the house, but Lexi and the kid escaped the house just in time, and they were safe after the police arrived. After Christopher discovered the past, Pooh came to his house and brutally murdered his parents and kidnapped his little sister, Bunny Robin. After that, Christopher returned home, and suddenly found his mother and father's dead body and discovers that Bunny is missing. Christopher got really worried and left his house to find her. In the Rav, Pooh and Tigger went on a huge massacre, killing every single people that were having a great time. I've asked Scott Chambers how long did it take to film this amazing scene, and he told me it was 5 days to film this part. Pooh's massacre was 3 days, and Tigger's massacre was 2 days, which is awesome. Christopher Robin went out to the woods to look for Bunny, but sees Pooh looking at him and holding a chainsaw. He chases Christopher with it and saw the grave where he got himself out after changing into a yellow bear. Pooh started to remember the past, and Christopher called Pooh by his real name. Christopher tries to apologize to Pooh for leaving because he didn't know that Pooh was actually his brother. But Pooh started strangling him for abandoning him and his friends, but is saved by Lexi. Christopher grabbed an axe and was forced to brutally kill Pooh, and it was the end of their nightmare. Christopher and Lexi then found Bunny and started to return home. Back in the 100 Acre Wood, Pooh and Piglet were taken back into their property by Tigger and Owl, and suddenly, Pooh and Piglet started to regenerate, while Owl said that they will come back for Christopher Robin again. I was so surprised when that happened, and when the end credits came, they showed the drawings of other childhood characters they are making as horror villains. Bambi, Peter Pan, Pinocchio, and some others that I couldn't remember pretty well. Now, let's talk about my thoughts about this movie. I think that movie was amazing. There was a lot of twisted surprise and lots of brutal kills. More than 50 deaths, which is insane. The massacre scene from the Rav was like I love every moment of it, and I was so excited to see the Rave massacre and Pooh using a chainsaw. And Scott Chambers did a really good job playing Christopher Robin, which he was also the producer of this film. And I was really excited to see Tigger and his introduce, which was when a police officer said, "Alright, let's bounce," only for Tigger to pounce behind him and say, "That's my line." What happened to the officer after that? Well, we didn't get a good look, but you can imagine how brutal Tigger was. He went fully Freddy Krueger style with his kills, which was awesome. The way he rolls is insane. He looks very dangerous. And I love how Tigger appeared in the Rev and said hello everyone, and then the lights went out and turned back on and he was gone. This gets me feeling that Tigger is way brutal than the other characters. He is insane. Now let's talk about the director and writer. The director is Reese Flake Waterfield, and writer is Reese Flake Waterfield, of course, and Matt Lisley. After the success of the first movie, Reese had announced to make a sequel on November 2022 with 10 times more budget than the first movie. He said that he wants to ramp it up even more and go even crazier and go even more extreme. He replaced the actors of Pooh, Piglet, and Christopher Robin from the first movie and invited new actors to become them. He even put a lot more cast in the sequel than the first movie, which is pretty good. He also confirmed that Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 will have over 50 deaths and make the film inspired by the Terrifier franchise, which is like the brutal kills. They were extreme and over the top. He also wanted to add Tigger in the sequel now that he's in the public domain. Like you've heard in the first episode that Tigger shouldn't be in the first film. And they even put Owl because he was in the beginning of the first one. And Owl looks really cool. Next is the characters. They made a huge redesign for Pooh and Piglet, and now they look like actual creatures. Except for making them look like guys in a mask, like from the first one. The costume from the first movie was $770, and the second film's costume was $20,000, which is so amazing, and that's what made the movie really good. Because they made Pooh have claws, except of just yellow hands, and has a grumpy face with sharp teeth. And Piglet has a different clothing with an apron and has no tusk, and he has a scar on his head. Christopher Robin had a backstory for after the first movie, where he started telling everyone about the innocent, and lots of people think he was the one who killed the girls from the first film, which they were actually killed by Pooh and Piglet. Winnie the Pooh was played by Ryan Oliver, Piglet was played by Eddie McKenzie, Tigger was played by Louis Sainter, and Owl was played by Marcus Massey. The next segment is scene settings. The movie was filmed in East Success Forest for the 100 Acre Woods, where they did the same for the first movie, but with more locations, including the Ashdown town, the Rav in a warehouse where the massacre scene happens, a house where Christopher Robin lives with his family, and the Ashdown hospital where Christopher Robin works before getting fired. They upgrade Pooh, Piglet's, Owl, and Tigger's property to their lair underground, under a huge creepy tree, because part of the 100 Acre Wood was destroyed by the hunters, and they moved into a hiding spot to live. Next is music choices. The music was made by Andrew Scott Bell, and the music did make the movie terrifying and really great, like the appearance of Tigger when he said hello everyone, and the sad music of Christopher Robin trying to apologize to Pooh for not knowing he was his brother Billy after Pooh saw the grave where he was buried in the past. The terrifying music I heard was the part where Pooh and Tigger went for a massacre in the rave, and when Pooh tries to kill Christopher Robin with a chainsaw. Now it's time to talk about the camera angles. They did lots of camera angles in this film. Ground cameras, close-up cameras, drone cameras, zoom-in cameras, and long shot cameras. They also did a fast motion shot for Owl flying around so fast, which that makes it creepy that Owl can fly really fast. Now next is the history of creating the film. After the success of the first film, the sequel was announced and was in development in November 2022. The movie was filmed at East Success in the UK, the same way they did the first film for the 100 Acre Wood. They started filming the sequel on the 3rd of September 2023 and wrapped filming on the 21st of September 2023, and was planned to release the film on the 15th of February 2024, but changed the release date to the 26th of March 2024. The foreshadowing of the movie was when Christopher Robin got a call from Lexi after she was attacked by Pooh but survived, because she asked Christopher if his family are okay, and Christopher got worried and started to drive back home, but it was too late. Pooh had already killed his family. The next segment is about the themes of what the movie has. The film has huge massacre, lots of gore, brutal kills, monstrous animals, huge amount of deaths, a twisted flashback of the past for Winnie the Pooh, a therapy that Christopher Robin goes to remember the past where his brother was taken, and mysterious that Christopher Robin solves. CGI was used for some decapitated dead bodies, like where Pooh rips a girl's head off with a bear trap from the Rav. Some dead bodies, some blood, but most of them are from fake bloods to make it brutal, and they use it for Owl to fly. The props are realistic in this film. My type of props that I love is actually a chainsaw that Pooh used for killing Christopher Robin. The props they used was people's hands, arms, and heads for Pooh and his friends to tear people's bodies apart. The designer who worked on the previous movies, including the Harry Potter franchise, Game of Thrones, and World War Z, did the creature and gore designs for the movie, which is why they made it a lot brutal, and I was happy that they did it. The final segment is my theories for Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 3, because 2 days after they released the film, they had announced that they're making a third film. And the thing is, there was 7 kids who were kidnapped in the sequel. However, we have only met 5 of them: Pooh, Piglet, Eeyore, Tigger, and Owl. Hopefully we meet Mr. Rabbit and either Kanga or Roo in the third movie. The official Instagram page of Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey have us a teaser that an upcoming crossover film, Poohniverse Monsters Assemble, will have the whole gang is coming together against Ashdown. Winnie the Pooh, Bambi, Peter Pan, Pinocchio, Mad Hatter, Sleeping Beauty, Hook, and Cricket. I am so excited to see it when it comes out next year. Let's hope for a big cast of characters. About Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 3, they confirmed to have the increased budget to make it better than the second one. Hopefully get some more gore, maybe some more screen time for the characters, especially because we only saw Piglet for a short period of time, and that we get to see more screen time of the characters they're gonna put in for the third movie, like Rabbit and Kanga or Roo, depends on if they're going to appear. I would love to thank Reese Flake Waterfield and Scott Chambers for creating this universe, the Twisted Childhood universe, and for making Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 my favorite movie yet. You guys were amazing, and I can't wait for number 3. And with that, we conclude today's episode. I'm taking a short break, but we'll return on Tuesday, the 3rd of April, as we extend our slashers coverage to the Scream franchise. Thank you for tuning in. As always, stay spooky.